everybody, in this video we're going to talk about graphing a hyperbola given its equation in general form. Now with these topics, it's a lot like the previous video I made about graphing a hyperbola, but now we're not given a nice pretty form. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to walk you through getting it into a nice form that we can use, and then you're going to pause the video and you're going to work through it like in the previous videos that I've showed you, with finding the center, finding your A's and B's, finding your vertices, and then you're going to play it and see if you end up with the same thing as me. Okay, so how do we get this general form into what we're used to seeing, which is standard form? Well, I'm going to take negative x squared plus 6x and kind of work on that for a minute, separately from this 4y squared plus 8y. Work on that separately, and that all equals 9. So what am I doing here? I want to get my x's into some form of x minus h squared, which means I need to complete the square. But I want a positive 1 in front of the x, so I'm going to factor out everything that is making this not a positive 1, which happens to just be negative 1. And I'm only going to factor that out of my x's. And we end up with x squared minus 6x right there. Then I'm going to do the same thing for y, where I only want a 1 in front of my y squared, so I factor out 4, and I get y squared plus 2y is what's left, and that's equal to 9. And I talk about completing the square more in depth in the ellipse videos and circle videos, but I need to add something here. What I add is negative b over 2a, and in this, negative b over 2a squared, so I have to square that whole portion. So I'm going to add here is 9, and what I'm going to add here is 1. But let's go back, because I'm not just adding 9, I'm adding 9 times negative 1, because this negative 1 is multiplied by every single term inside the parentheses. So I'm really adding a negative 9 here. And then for this piece, what am I adding? I'm adding 1 times 4, or 4. And because I added it to the left, I have to add it to the right, so that's this work here. So 9 plus negative 9 plus 4 is just 4. And then here I have negative 1 times x minus 3 squared. That's what this piece factors to. And then plus 4 times y plus 1 squared equals 4. Now I'm not quite to the standard form, because I need to get a 1 on that right hand side. So I'm going to divide everything by 4. So I get this equals 1. And then I'll have y. Actually, I'm going to rearrange this. I want the positive fraction first, just so it looks like what I've seen before. I get y plus 1 squared over 1 minus x minus 3 squared over 4, all equals 1. And I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that equals 1 so it's better lined up here. Okay, now from here, we have previous videos on how to graph from here. So I want you to pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and write some work out as you pause the video, and then when you push play again, you should see my solution on the graph. So here is my work. My center is at 3, negative 1. Now the common mistake is to put negative 1, 3 or 3, 1. Okay. The h is always attached to the x. The k is always attached to the y. And I have to have a y minus k. So it turns to, my k is a negative 1. A is always the square of the denominator of the positive fraction. So a equals 1, b equals 2. My vertices, this opens up and down, so I'm going to add a and subtract a to the y portion, okay? And then I go ahead and I make my box using a and b, right? The height of my box here is 2 times A. The length of my box here is 2 times B. And then I go ahead and I fill in the asymptotes. They follow the corners of that box. And then I have my vertices here and I fill in the line. So hopefully that helps with graphing hyperbolas given the equation general form.